Welcome to the Idaho Bread podcast, Jacob. Thanks for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
How does it feel to be voted the best caterer?
Shockingly overwhelming, actually.
Yeah.
It's helped us get quite a few more brides booked.
Good.
It's awesome. So that's kind of helped us on our end, which is kind of cool.
Well, and I thinking back on it, I don't even know if you guys realized because I remember when I delivered some magazines. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't even think you knew about it.
No, something happened. You came across, no, I got an email from you about order the last issue of was it the winter magazine or spring magazine?
I think it was the spring.
So I was like, and we were doing all these tastings back and forth, and I was like, you know what? I could be giving these out to brides.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'll order 20 of them because we had like 20 more brides booked, I think, if I can remember. And so we just ordered them up, and then you showed up. You're like, I'll deliver them. I'm like, oh, sweet. I can meet her and introduce myself. And you're like, here's your copy. And I'm like, oh. And you're like, did you know you won? I was like, no, I had no clue I won. It was kind of funny. Like, I was just trying to help you out, and then come to find out I won. Yeah. So I was like, sweet, awesome. Now I can shove it in brides' faces. Here.
Look at me.
Yeah. I'm famous. I'll sign your magazine.
Did anybody ask you
to? She did, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, it's funny.
How did you get into catering?
It's kind of a weird story. My dad lost his job when I was 14. And so he went to nursing school 2 hours away. And so if I wanted new clothes, I needed to have a job. And so a guy I went to church with owned a pizza restaurant. And so he gave me a job, and I fell in love with cooking. Before that, I was going to be a diesel mechanic. I just thought it would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about diesels, but I was like, hey, it sounds fun. I like working with my hands.
Yeah.
And then I caught the restaurant bug, and cooking always made sense to me.
Yeah.
And I never had to fight cooking, and flavor pairing really made sense to me. And so I was like, I'm going to open a restaurant. And then by chance, my senior year, I helped cook Thanksgiving dinner for my extended family here in Idaho because I lived in Oregon.
Okay.
And my cousin's husband, Matt, his parents owned a catering company in Provo.
Oh.
So offhand, he's like, hey, when you graduate, do you want a job? That's all that was ever said. I was like, yeah, sure, I'd love a job catering. I've never done it, but I love cooking.
Yeah.
And so I sent him an email, a graduation announcement. I haven't heard from him. The day after graduation, Matt calls me and says, hey, how soon can you get to Utah? He's like, my dad wants to hire you. I'm like, I could be there tomorrow. So my girlfriend, now wife, we literally packed that night and left the next morning to Utah. No place to live, nothing. And I started catering, and dude, day one, I was like, this is what I want to do. And so for the next 15 years, I scraped and saved and worked on recipes and did free weddings and did a lot of free stuff just to get my name out there. And everything just kind of fell into place for me. And so in 2020, I quit my job. I was a correction officer, and I hated that with a passion. And in 2020, I quit my job, and we started catering full time. And it's just blown up from there.
Now you're the best.
I want to keep getting the best.
Yeah, right.
It's just basically just trying to grow your brand and grow. You kind of get pigeonholed in catering. And so I do private chef service. So we go into people's homes, and we do strictly private events as well. That's a big chunk of our business. When I actually get flown out to places to cook for people in their house, I'm not a Michelin star chef. What I am is a strict, good home cooked meal with natural ingredients. I don't cook with seed oils at all. I strictly use beef tallow and butter in all my cooking. And so, I enhance flavor. So I take a potato and I don't just cover it in sauce. I take a potato and I use salt and pepper and beef tallow, and I let the potato speak for itself. And so that's kind of like, I do that in all my cooking, is I don't mask it with a bunch of seasoning. I want you to be able, if I smoke a brisket, I want you to taste the smoked brisket. I don't want you to taste barbecue sauce or a burnt rub.
Yeah.
That's just my cooking style.
Yeah.
And so I'm more like a naturalist. I let the food speak for itself. I'm just an artist, they would say, and it's just kind of my canvas. And that's kind of what I do.
What would you say is your favorite to do, either weddings or private events? You could be honest.
I would say it's really like comparing like apples to potatoes. I mean, they're so different.
Yeah.
Because like with catering, it's more customer service more than just the food. With weddings, you have to, walk the bride or the family member, the person that hired you.
Yeah.
Technically, it's we just had a grandma hire us yesterday for her grandson's event in Parma. So it's not necessarily always a bride. It's, and so from that, it's all customer service, be able to answer emails promptly, answer texts, answer phone. And so I do enjoy the aspect of great customer service. I pride myself in great customer service and a great product, where if you're cooking in someone's home, you really don't have a lot of customer service. They really don't want to talk to you because it's a business meeting. So it's really short stuff, but then you get to do a little bit more Michelin stuff where you're plating delicately. And so it's really hard to say, because they're not, it's like two different worlds.
Yeah.
I do like weddings a lot. I like the challenge. I like different weddings just because like the guests are always changing. You get these people that have gone to weddings with bad catering, and then like they eat your food and they're just like, who the hell are you? Like, where's your restaurant? And I'm like, I don't have one. And so it just develops like this sense of pride on what you do, versus like if I do the corporate event or the private chef service, I don't get a lot of that because they're in a meeting. And so like I pride myself in what I do there, but I don't get a lot of feedback. And to me, like the feedback makes you feel good. Like, did they like it? Did they not? Well, the plate's empty. So like, okay,
Yeah.
And so it's so split, but I really enjoy weddings generally. If you want to ask me, I'll be honest. 4 years ago, I would have told you, hell no. Because you just get those bad clients that just kind of, you do 100 weddings and you get that 101 and you're just like, why the hell am I doing this for a living? Then you realize, look, I just did 100 weddings that were awesome. Don't let this one bad mother-in-law, monster-in-law, ruin it for you. And so I think generally with social media and marketing, and the aspect anybody could be recorded anytime, I think a lot of people kind of toe the line now, are a little bit more professional than I would even say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, which social media was present, but the term of Karen has really made people not want to be on TikTok as a Karen and go viral as a negative light, which has kind of helped the wedding industry quite a bit to have people kind of mind their P's and Q's a bit. So
I definitely feel like the older generation, is like, well, I don't care until like they see the power of the internet, and then it's just like, oh, maybe I should, like,
maybe I should care.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Yeah.
Because, and like, to be fair, like they grew up in a completely different time. Like there was no phones. Like you could get away.
There's no accountability.
Yeah.
There was zero accountability for
Yeah.
what you said, what you did, how you carried yourself. Like, oh, I don't act that way. Well, according to the cell phone, you do.
Yeah.
You know? And so it does. It holds people accountable for how they act in public, which has really been a blessing for most businesses, especially restaurant service. Like, you can act a fool in a restaurant and you're getting recorded.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you give them a bad Google review and like, well, I'm just going to post you on the internet until you remove that Google review. You know what I mean? Like most of the time in my line of work, I hate to say it, 90% of my bad interactions was the customer. It was not me.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, like, look, 10%, yeah, it's my fault. And I would own 10% of it my fault. If I mess up, I'm the first one to apologize and own up to it. But the other 90%, they were jerks. They were rude. They were entitled. And it's one thing with us, we don't tolerate it.
Well, and I think in the, like, I don't want to say the beginning of social media, but there was definitely a, like, initial stage where people would like act out on Instagram or like social media to get what they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like shed a bad light. But I've learned that like if I see somebody leave a negative review and there's a ton of glowing reviews, I'll go to that person's thing, because you can see other reviews that they left. And if it's all negative, then I'm going to take that obviously with a grain of salt and probably not listen to what they have to say, because they're probably just trying to get what they want. It's
actually I don't know if you know this, it's a trend now. People want you to give 1-star reviews because that's what people read, but they want it to be a 1-star positive review.
Really?
Yeah, I kid you not. It was a trend like a year and a half ago. It's like people would go in and like, oh my gosh, this restaurant, I can't believe it, how amazing they are, and the food is so good. Like, because what do you do when you go into a Google review?
You look for the bad ones.
You look for the bad ones because they're funny.
Yeah.
You know, and so like it was trending for a while to give these great bad reviews, like, you know, like it was kind of funny, but it worked for businesses, like, because it got them traction, like, oh, this is funny. And so
I had no idea.
yeah. I think 4 and 3 stars are the most honest review. I really do. You know, it's hard for the restaurant industry, and I would consider catering part of the restaurant industry. Generally, some people would argue not. Like me, I don't consider charcuterie boards catering. I do not. Yeah, like, sorry. I don't. Make a little clip of this. I don't think charcuterie is catering. I don't. Like, when you're not crafting something, I'm not saying what you do is not valuable, but we live in 2 different worlds, you know, way different worlds. And so, like, when these caterers make, these charcuterie board companies make best caterer in the state, I'm just like, man, like, none of it's, like, it's more like an art than, like, there's chefs out there that spent their life mastering these recipes to have somebody that goes buy shit at Costco and then puts it on a table and says, look, I'm a, like, that not. But I'm not devaluing your industry. You're not in the same world as me. And so that's kind of how I kind of like, everything in my life has a realm. And so I would consider I'm part of the restaurant industry. Some people say I'm not. You know, it is what it is.
But I mean, I know you say you don't have a restaurant, but you still do have a restaurant.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we do meal pickups every Friday.
Yeah.
And so because we do go to these weddings and people are like, how the hell do I get this food? And I'm like, every Friday we sell 2 meals. We're open from 4 to 8 and now it's summer 4 to 9, and it's pre-order only, and they come and pick up. Like a couple weeks ago, we sold ribs. We sold out 75 racks of ribs in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Just done. I was done.
And you're in New Plymouth, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, but we are going to come this way. We're looking to do, like, that was a business meeting last night. We're looking at doing a final build in Canyon County. I feel like Canyon County is a perfect stomping ground where I feel like I won't lose my Weezer clients, my Cascade clients, my Riggins clients. I'm still close enough, but then I can gain way more clients. Because we've dealt with brides, and I'm not trying to sound disrespectful, but they're like, oh, you're new. I'm driving all the way from Nampa. A free tasting, that's just too far. But I'm just like, you're 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like what? But again.
But you also have people fly in just to taste your food.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We actually have 2 of them coming up. They're flying in out of state.
Where are those ones coming from?
One's from New York State, and the other one's with Lisa, I think Chicago, if I can remember correctly.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we had talked about when I brought the magazines, just the amount of out of state coming here for like a destination.
Dude, it's people like, this is actually one thing I was going to cover on the podcast, you know, just to let Idaho brides know the problem we're running into is a financial problem. Because, for example, if you're coming in for a tasting and you've been saving a year for your dream wedding. So you come in, you do a tasting at XYZ Catering, you do a tasting at ABC Catering, and you do a tasting at Broken Bowl Catering. And so we don't hold dates. I'm not a car salesman. I'm not be like, book today and you get 10% off. That is not me. These are my prices. If you want my service, dude, let's work together and make something beautiful. If you can't afford me, go somewhere else. If you don't like my food, go somewhere else. I don't want to be at your event if you're not proud of what you're serving.
Yeah.
I'm not a car salesman. Yeah. And I'm not a used car salesman. Like, if you like food, let's work together. If you don't like my food, let's go somewhere else. So you're proud of what you do. The problem we're running into is you're coming out and you're still trying to make a decision on budget and what you want to present your guests. Where we get a phone call, because there's only so many weekends in a year, and this just happened to us. It was a $10,000 catering event for a wedding. And I said, well, I thought of telling everybody, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, book today, don't book today. I don't hold dates either. 3 days later, we get a phone call. And this lady's like, I want to book August 26th right now. I'm like, well, we normally like to do tastings. She's like, no, you did my son's. I think it was son's last. Was it her son's wedding? So yeah, so we did her son's wedding, and we're going to do the daughter's wedding. And she's like, no, I've had your food before. I want to book now.
Yeah.
But I already had a bride do a tasting, but it hasn't paid a deposit yet. So then, like, you out to this bride and be like, look, I'm not trying to sell you, but someone wants your date.
Yeah.
You know, and so then like it's this pressure situation, but it's even worse because like the New York people that are getting married here, the Washington State, the out of state people, we did a Portland destination wedding here last year. They pay a deposit.
Yeah.
Like they want, like they're calling you and they're like, no, I want this taken care of right now.
Yeah.
And so they're used to $75 a plate where they're from. In New York State, the average catering price, I looked it up last year, I think it was $125 a plate.
For a wedding.
Yeah. So they're coming out here and they're seeing like my Google reviews, and they're usually dealing with the wedding planner, and wedding planners usually send a lot of business my way. And so they want to pay a deposit now. And then the Idaho bride is like, well, we're not ready to pay a deposit. And as a business owner, I got to do what's best for me.
Yeah.
I don't hold dates. And so they always ask, like, that's the biggest frustration, a part of our business is that awkwardness of like, now I look like a used car salesman. I have Jessie, the bride from New York, wanting to book August 26th. Like now I'm reaching out and that's like the most frustrating part about our job is the unknown. And like one thing I wish like I can help people understand catering is that catering, and I don't know about DJs, I don't know about event planners, and I don't know about photographers. But what I do know, when I do a corporate event, there's no DJ there. When I do a funeral, there's no DJ there. When I do a class reunion, when I do a graduation party, there's no photographer, no DJ, no event planner. So they're also competing against that other industry, also on booking dates on weekends. And so like people don't understand that I'm not just a wedding caterer. I am a catering company that does everything. And so some brides like are convinced in their head, like, oh, he just does weddings. Cause we just did a job for a mineral company in Eagle. And the lady's just like, oh, I bet you most of your jobs are weddings. I'm like, no. I said, most of my jobs are corporate. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, because like corporate people swipe their card. They don't ask for a tasting. They literally give it to some secretary that say, hey, Jessie, hire a catering for our upcoming summer party. Well, Jessie doesn't want to call 15 companies. And so she sends out 4 emails. Oh, broken bowl message first. Yep, this fits our budget. Like here's their credit card number. Let's pay. But when you deal with a bride, it's not that way. It's 15 emails. It's 10 phone calls, 30 text messages, the tasting, a bunch of revisions of the estimate, which is fine. We love doing it. It's good customer service. But with us, are we going to go towards the corporate where they swipe their credit card versus the wedding where it's a lot more work for the same amount of money?
Yeah.
And so like, I feel like brides and people that hire us, even not even brides, just people that hire us for weddings don't understand that about the catering business is that we fit a ton of realms.
Yeah.
We're like a DJ. I can't tell you, I've never had a DJ. Like I said, I've never had a DJ at a wedding. I've never had a DJ at a class reunion. I've never had a DJ at, like, we're booking graduation parties right now. I've never had a photographer at any of those events. So, like, I sometimes think they clash us into that realm or mix us into that realm of they just do weddings. It's like, dude, you're competing against a lot of industries in catering. And I think event, part of the catering company, the only people that are like that are the bar service and the catering company, that you're competing against other things that want our service. And so I think that's people in the wedding industry don't understand that. Again, I don't want to speak for DJs, but I've been to these events and they don't have DJs there, where every wedding I go to, there's a DJ. Every wedding I go to, there's a photographer. And so their niche is weddings, where my niche is anything that wants food provided.
Yeah.
And so does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's hard too, because I don't think, like I said, like I hardly kind of had the idea that Idaho is a destination market. So I don't think that they realize that they're also competing against all of these other people flying in for tastings when you don't want to drive 30 minutes. There's just so much more than anybody realizes. And I noticed a lot of people like have commented on emails and stuff, and they say that they just wish that they would be able to book vendors like more last minute than they are. And I'm like, that's just not the way it is anymore. Like Idaho's like just expanding in every way, like especially with everybody moving in. So it is something that you do need to book probably more like a year out, because I've had so many vendors tell me that they're already booking 2026 and we're
booking 2027.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like booking 2027. If you want your dream wedding, And that's a lot of like, I love Instagram because everybody wants an Instagram wedding.
Yeah.
And Instagram weddings cost about $100,000.
Yeah.
And so these brides are, like, maybe mom and dad say, look, we got 30,000, we'll help you with the wedding. And if that bride and groom wants that Instagrammable wedding, which is very trendy right now, they want that viral picture, they want that viral TikTok, because if you go viral, it could be a job for you, you
Yeah.
know? And so some of these brides, they have $100,000 saved up and they book us. We're booking into 2026, in the hot season of September, October. And these brides reach out and like, sorry, we're booked. They're like,
Yeah.
that's a year away. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not, if we can, we try to do it, but they don't, like you're saying, like they don't understand that Idaho's like, it's crazy. We did I'm going to probably butcher. I think we did 8 destination weddings and we have 12 to 15 booked this year, meaning no one's from Idaho.
Yeah.
Not a single person's from Idaho. The whole family, everybody's flying in. For some reason, they think it's a mountain resort and they want to get married in Idaho. I don't understand it. I'm being honest. I don't get it. But, the one bride said, she goes, well, the cheapest venue where I'm from is $20,000 for a 14-hour rental. It's literally cheaper for us to go to Idaho, go to Montana, go to Wyoming, hire the local stuff there. Our $250,000 wedding just went to a $100,000 wedding. And she goes, that's with me flying a lot of this family in and renting an Airbnb. There's quite a few. There's an Airbnb off of Lake Lowell that I think sleeps 36 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so like, and it's very, like, I think it's 5,000 for the weekend. But if you did that somewhere in San Diego, I don't know, but you're probably 15,000 for the weekend.
Yeah.
And so that's what the Idaho bride is not understanding, that portion of it. The Lazy Bear Ranch a couple years ago, I was talking to Tim Reitman. He rented the whole ranch for 16,000 for the weekend. And so that's 2 days that he couldn't host an event because they had a bride, or I think this was in 2023, I think it was. And so that's what people aren't understanding. And us vendors, we have families. Like we have, like, I'm going to take the person that paid the deposit, and it's no offense to you. Like, I like you. I liked working with you, but we have bills and I'm going to go to the person that pays the deposit first. And I don't follow up, like there's some, salesmen out there that would probably say I'm stupid. But I feel like when you have a product that's really good enough and you have customer service that's phenomenal, you don't have to follow up.
Yeah.
And I don't have to follow up.
Yeah. Well, when you're booking into 2027, you don't have to follow up. No. Because, I mean, like, quite honestly, like, it's not your wedding.
Yeah. I'm not a salesman. I'm really not. I'm the type of person, I feel like you're an adult. I'm an adult. You come into my establishment. If you like me and you like my food and you have the budget, let's book. Because if you hit all 3 of those, why aren't you booking? If you have the budget and we meshed really well, let's book. And so I think there's some brides or family members just in general that want to shop around, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with shopping around. But then when you email me 2 weeks later and the date's gone, don't get mad at me. And that does happen. Nowadays we tell every bride, we tentatively hold your date for 2 weeks until the estimate cancels. If you accept the estimate, that means we know you want to hire the service, you're working on financing, whatever that financing option is. And then we go from there. But if you never accept the estimate, I'm not following up. I'm just going to move on to the next bride, or the next business, or the next class reunion, or the next, because I will do anything, you know? And so we do birthday parties. We just did a birthday party. They dropped $9,000 just on catering for a birthday party.
And that's probably out of state money.
Yeah. They live in Idaho, but they're from California. They've only lived up here 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
And so like they think everything's affordable and it's hard. Like in our industry, you come in and you get these people, they're like, a tri-tip dinner for $23. That's a steal. But then you get those people like, that's a fucking ripoff. Yeah. Like, what the hell? A tri-tip is this much. And it's just like, yeah, we're not a good match. Like, I'm not gonna deal. Like, I'm not lowering my pricing to hope to God that I get your service. And if you do, like, I've learned this trying to get out there. I've learned this from the get go. if you negotiate pricing with people, you end up 99% of the time regretting working with them because they're not thankful for what you did for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they try to haggle you on I'm not like, this is my price, pay it or don't pay it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't mean that as like a disrespect. I just mean that we're all adults. Like, if you have the money, spend it. If you don't have the money, go somewhere else. But I don't mean that as a disrespect, but you need to go somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. I've also noticed, like, I heard the term, they're called cheap people.
Yeah.
They're never satisfied. And so if somebody's like haggling you on the price, like, it's a red flag. Just don't book with them, because it's going to be the worst wedding or the worst event, because the people who actually like value, they're like, here's my credit card, let's do this, because they understand that they're paying for quality and they're trusting you in that.
Well, quality, and it's not even just the food quality, it's the customer service, showing up on time, you know, emailing. We tell brides, once you're booked, you can message us, bug us, call us as much as you want. We will answer that phone if within reason.
Right.
Obviously, you know, like you and I've corresponded at 2 a.m. Up, you're up. Not, you know, like that's the nature of the business. That's the nature of an event business, is the customer service and being responsive to your customers that have paid you money to be responsive. But like, we kind of don't do that if you're not booked.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, meaning like, don't want to answer 15 emails trying to figure stuff out. Like, we've given you all the information, just make a decision. And that's the cheapo hard. And like, there's some stuff that, well, you know, I've done a lot of marketing research. Like, for example, one thing that drives me bonkers is we'll send out an estimate and we have like a verbiage on the estimate. So basically, a quick catering agreement. This is the stipulation. This is like, you know, it's a 50% non-refundable deposit. You know, you can't reduce your numbers once. Like, if you start at 25, you're locked in at 25. You can't message us 2 weeks later and like, actually 10 people are showing up. Well, I've already locked in your grocery prices at the 25 people.
Right.
And you get free utensils. It says on there, free utensils. And so we send these out and people are like, what happens if we provide our own plates and forks? It's the same price because the utensils are free. But like, I get it. They're trying to save money.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what happens if we bring our own chafing dishes?
Yeah.
Same price.
Yeah.
Like, that's a choice you're making to bring. I'm not forcing you.
Yeah.
And it's those cheapo, you know, like, I get it. You don't want to do the work, or you thought you could. A lot of it, I feel bad. It's a lot of the time, it's these parents or these family members, like, oh, we'll cook for 200 people. And then they realize, like, they go to Costco and they get all the tri-tip and salad and potatoes, and they get home and they're like, how do we keep this shit cold? Like, how do we actually keep all this stuff hot?
Yeah.
Like, we get emails all the time. Hey, do you guys rent out your Canberra boxes? Fuck no, we don't. Those are $350 a pop.
Yeah.
No, I don't rent them out.
Yeah.
They're like, "Huh, like, are you sure? Like, I'm like, no. Sorry, you put yourself in the situation.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Well, not only that, but that's taking away from an event that you
Use them. Yes, correct. You would not believe the emails and the questions we get, like, you know, and we're to the point where we've grown big enough. I provide the whole meal or nothing at all, you know, and that sounds rude, but I don't have to just provide potatoes anymore.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like, well, we cook our own tri-tip. Can you provide the sides? Nope. We do the whole meal or nothing at all. And a lot of it too is,
well, it's also a reflection on you, because the guests don't know that.
See, you get it instantly. You got it.
Yeah.
It's, I don't want my food paired with nasty tri-tip.
Right.
You know, I don't. You know, maybe it's amazing tri-tip, but I don't want to.
People associating.
Yeah. And I hate when people, and we do it, it's in our catering agreement, you can provide your own desserts, but I hate it because, like, I'm going to sound super disrespectful. Since 2018, this is a fact, and you can have my wife verify it. And it happened last year. Every single wedding I've been to that I have not provided the dessert has been trash. Trash. Every single one. The first one was June of last year. It was at a Longhorn Guest Ranch. I don't remember the bride. The bride and groom were awesome to work with. Absolutely phenomenal to work with. But the cupcakes they brought, I was like, I need to sneak some of these home. They were the best cupcakes I've had at a catered event that I did not provide. The best. I was like, this person needs to open a bakery.
Yeah.
They would be rich. They were phenomenal. They were moist. The frosting was perfect. It wasn't overpowering sweet. Like a lot of the time, like these people, they make a cupcake and then they put a weird frosting on it. So when you eat it together, they don't mesh. They don't.
They're just store-bought.
We've caught a bakery doing that. They bought cupcakes from Walmart and then said they were theirs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They had Walmart written all over it. Like I just knew they were Walmart.
Yeah.
Alberts.
Well, and like they've got such a distinctive taste. Like
they taste plastic.
Yeah. I will say there is. Speaking of somebody who needs to open their own like full service, there's this cute coffee shop in. Okay, what's right before Riggins? Starts with a G. Grangeville?
Where's that new trainer from the Finders? What town did they buy that in? Pollock.
No, it's a G. I think it's Grangeville.
Before Riggins?
Yeah, like you're going, or maybe, I don't know. It's near Riggins. It starts with a G.
I'm trying to think because it goes Pollock, Riggins, and then I just catered at that town. I can't think of what it's called.
Okay.
I catered in Riggins a lot too.
Yeah.
Because of the Salmon River Helicopter Company.
I'll look it up and I'll put it on the screen.
Can't think of it. No. I'm trying to think because I'm like, because it's.
The coffee shop's called like Crema or something like that. Anyways, it's like off Main Street. It's the cutest coffee shop. It's very eclectic, but they have the best cupcakes I've ever tasted in my entire life.
Really?
Yes. Like my mom, my mom's moving up to Priest River and she just drove home. She brought me one on the way home. It was so good. And they're like fun flavors like strawberry lemonade or like yeah, you know.
So but most of them can't execute it. Like they do strawberry lemonade, the frosting's so overpowering with lemon that you can't taste the strawberry, or the cupcake tastes so fake strawberry that like it doesn't pair with the lemon.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people like instead of like trying to equalize it to where each bite is like heaven in your mouth, like one is really good and the other's horrible 99% of the time.
Yeah.
You know.
But no, I would seriously
I wonder if it's the same gal because this gal was the baker was from like McCall, New Meadows area.
Maybe.
I'm kind of curious. I wonder if it could be.
They're seriously like, I would drive up there just for a cupcake.
That's what we said about this. I'm like, how do we get this girl's information? They were phenomenal.
Like, okay, I'm going to send the people on the internet to find this person who makes cupcakes.
Yeah, dude, they were super good. What was her name that we did their wedding? They did the tasting. Gosh dang, they follow me on Facebook too. I feel like sorry. Right too. And they gave the new husband gave us a great review. We didn't even ask for. Like they gave us a great review. Gosh dang, that's gonna bug me.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
I follow her on Instagram too. I just don't. I meet like 20,000 people a year, and I'm just like, look it up, babe. June of last year. Anyway,
I'll put it in the text on the screen, or I'll put it in the like description because like this person needs to do this professionally.
Yes.
But anyways, so I wanted to touch on like your business model. I know that you said that you like we have families and we have to provide for them, but I know that you also hire a lot of stay-at-home moms.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
We realized in the world there's an absolutely huge amount of stay-at-home moms and dads that are phenomenal workers that can't figure out babysitting.
Well, especially when it's like $2,000 for infants without like they aren't potty trained.
So we let moms and dads bring their kids to work. They get to play in our open space for free. We feed their kids for free. We give them snacks, sodas. That's what everybody has. Sorry. But as long as the child can be good and behave and within reason, like not jerks, but can take care of themselves, and the parent also isn't spending 2 hours trying to deal with that child, they get to bring their kid to work. And we found that us doing that, we have found a phenomenal group of people that want to work for us because we filled a niche that no one else is filling. Like, dude, there's so like this needs to go viral. Like, there's so many stay-at-home mom and dads that are amazing workers, would literally bend over backwards for you to make you millions of dollars, but they can't figure out childcare. Childcare in America has become so astronomically expensive that it's easier, and I don't mean this as a disrespect, but it's easier to live off the state than try to find a job. Like when you get $1,000 a month in food stamps, you get government assistance and renting, or you go to work for $18 an hour, but your childcare bill's $2,000. So you're making $3 an hour.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense.
And you have to spend time away from your kid.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it for that extra $3.
$3, yeah. Yeah. And so we found out if we bring their kid to work, they get to run around and have plate down. They can't come on catering jobs. So a lot of the time, but like our kitchen prep, they bring their kid in, they run around and play and have a good time. And when it comes down, usually by then, they can afford to pay because the catering event usually is about 5 hours long if it's local. A 5-hour babysitting bill is not as expensive as a 12-hour babysitting bill or a 10-hour babysitting bill. And that's what a lot of the gals that work for us or dads that work for us, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And if the world, like, especially the States, if they would open up their eyes and realize if they can help people solve the childcare problem, you would literally take down those hiring signs that have been up since 2020. It was an easy fix for us. Obviously, you do get that one kid that is an absolute nightmare, and it sucks telling them, but the parent knows.
Yeah.
Like they know. Your kid's a piece of crap. Like I hate to say it, like like when they're biting other kids and like drawing on walls with marker and like, Steven, that's just who he is. No.
Yeah.
No kid needs to act that way. You probably should parent a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so it's worked for us so far, knock on wood.
Well, and that's such a great, like, I don't want to call it service, but like you said, like such a great niche to fill.
Become like, because of the internet, and I'm probably going to get destroyed on this. We've become a world of selfish people, and people need a foot up. People need a leg up,
Yeah.
Gary V, one thing I like what he says is hire quick, fire faster. And there's a lot of truth to that. Like usually people will show you their colors in about 7 days. And so we have learned that technique. Like you can fake it for about 3 days. You could see something at 4 days, something at 5 days, and they're at 5 to 7. You're just like, all right, you're a piece of crap. Like you'll faked it for 3 days. Hey, we're not a good fit. You need to go somewhere else. And so, but on the flip side, there's a lot of people out there that need help figuring out childcare. There's tons of people that would make you thousands of millions of dollars if you could help them figure out childcare.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that don't want to own a business.
Yeah.
But they want to make good money and they want to have fun at work.
Yeah.
Like, I watched another thing. I think I'm not going to quote it, but there's a huge influencer I follow, but his wife said something the other day that pissed me off. And she said that, run, if a business says that we hire a family and we're fine here, run, you should hire a team. And I'm like, that's a load of crap.
Yeah.
That is a load of crap.
Because you are a team.
Yeah, we are a team, but we take care of the people that work for us. We take them out to dinner for their birthday. We take them shopping. We do all sorts of stuff, but we don't do it because like staff retention. We actually care about our staff's well-being. Like if they're healthy at home, they're going to be healthy at work. And then we get more work production out of them because they're not stressing about at home. Yeah. Like I remember watching like some military movie and they were getting ready to deploy and the lead guy was going around like, hey, stuff at home, you're about to go to combat. Like, I don't need you to be worrying about crap at home. I need you to be focusing on the mission. We relate to that. Like, if we can help their home life be good and no stress at home, we get 100% of an employee that, instead of the 70-30 method, as long as they're providing 70%, keep them. If they're not providing 70%, get rid of them. We're in the aspect of, no, if we can help them with their home life, we get 100% of an employee. Instead of paying 2 people at 140%, we're paying 1 person at 100%. It works. Like, it works for us. It might not work in a tech company. It might not work at Jiffy Lube, but it works for us.
I think where they might have been coming from on that was like, you can tell that you're genuine, but I've worked in a corporate job. I don't know if it's considered corporate, but I've worked in a job where they're like, oh yeah, we're like a family. And it was just like the worst job I've ever had.
You can say it, but you have to mean it.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah. But you can tell. Like you said, within 7 days, you could tell.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah.
When we take good care of our staff. I love them. I want the best for them. We've had multiple people, go on to other things and message us and say, the world sucks. Our bosses are assholes. Like, thank you for being so amazing.
Yeah.
But again, like catering seasonal, we can't offer the 40 hours a week, and so that's why our job is really ideal for the stay-at-home mom and dad that want some extra Christmas money or extra money.
Yeah.
And they like the fact that it's not a set schedule. And so they really enjoy that aspect of it. As we grow, we're hoping to break 1 million this year in sales. And as we grow, we can provide more and more benefits.
Yeah.
Because at some point, like, I don't want to be the guy that worships money. I don't. Like, what, a bigger house. I think like Mr. B said, like, what do I want? A bigger house a bigger box to put my crap in? Truth to that. Like, there really is. Like, I would rather, I think there's a huge joy. Like for example, if you work for me and, I paid you $6,000 a month, and watching you buy a house and watching you buy, like, I helped you with that. Like, that's a huge pride. Like, what my talent employed you, and you were able to buy a house, and you were able to buy a car, and you took your family on a Hawaii vacation because of what my talent provided for your family. I think that's super cool. Like, that's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And there's so many corporations. It's like, whoa,
what about me?
Look at Ivy. Like, she's really talented. How can I use Ivy to make me millions? And she lives in poverty.
Yeah.
That's sick. Burn in hell. That's how I look at it, man.
Well, and there's an analogy. It's a sinking ship. Do you know the analogy?
I think I do.
I can't think of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's just better to raise together versus.
Yeah, for sure.
I tried. I have to ask my favorite question before I forget. What's the funniest or the craziest thing that's ever happened at a wedding?
So we have one. It's not. Looking back at it, it's funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time.
That's how it goes.
And so, we get this message from a gal wanting catering. It's like 6 weeks before the event. We send her a menu. She looks it over. We're over here in Caldwell by the Maverick driving. I remember it. She calls me and says, "Oh, we'd like to go with the tri-tip at $12 a person." I'm like, I would have never said that. I would have never quoted that. She's like, "Yeah, our last conversation." I was like, I never said that ever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like doing the math. Like, I would lose money. I told her that on the phone, I would lose money. I said, if I sent you an email or you have a voice recording of me saying it, I'll honor it. But I said, no, I would have never said that. She said, okay. She hangs up the phone, calls me the next day and asks for like a split menu. She's like, well, can we do half pork tenderloin and half tri-tip? Sure. And it's a big job. It's like 250 people. Big wedding.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I don't hear from her. So she messages me, like, at this time, we're talking, 4 weeks till the wedding. And so she messages me, and I was like sick of this lady. Like, just
was it the bride or was it like
the mom? I'm sick of this lady. And I finally told her, I said, look, I was like, I have to have a deposit tonight by midnight or I can't do your event. I said, it's getting too close. You're not giving me a lot of time to prep and stuff. So if you pay the deposit, we'll do the wedding. If not, you guys will have to go somewhere else, And so 11:55, I kid you not.
Oh, no.
That's what happens. Paid the deposit. And so,
so I can tell you were hoping that they wouldn't.
Yes, I was. I went to bed at 10. I remember, like, all right, sweet, we're out of this one.
Yeah.
So we wake up.
There
it's paid. Deposit's paid. I'm like, oh, we're locked in at this one.
Yeah.
And it's 250 people, so you got to run two buffet lines, 4 people going through it at a time to be able to get people fed in an appropriate amount of time. So we do the event. We show up to the event. Did homemade China, not homemade. They did China. Have you seen the event where they do the mismatched China?
Mm-hmm.
They like thrift all the China.
Oh yeah.
And so the kitchen at the facility was full of boxes. They literally looked like a hoarder paradise. It was stacked to the ceiling, and you can walk through. That's it. So we have nowhere to like prep, stage, do anything for us.
Yeah.
So we had to set up like on this like deck, and the venue owner's mad But I'm like, where do you want us to go? And he's like, I'm not mad at you. Like, this whole day's been a clusterfuck, you know? And I'm like, we're trying to figure stuff out too. Beautiful, like an absolute beautiful venue in Nampa. And they hired us for table bussing. They hired us for, what else? I can't remember. They hired us for a bunch of extra services. But in our catering agreement, everything's done in 4 hours, or we leave, or they pay $300 an hour to keep us longer than that. Because sometimes photographers or accidents happen, but we don't count, when you have a big staff there, that's not calculated in the cost to stay past the 4 hours.
Yeah.
So we charge $300 an hour to stay. And so the wedding ran long. And so, but we were there when we were supposed to. The wedding ran long. Dinner service, because they were goofing off and doing something. So dinner service ran long. And so half the tables were bussed, and one of our staff member were bussing a table. Well, a drunk guy bumped into her on the dance floor because she's bussing tables, and she dropped the bussing tub full of their dishes and it shattered. Well, the bride, this girl's 16. The bride started screaming at her, like in her face. So my staff member started crying.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, are you fucking stupid? Like what's wrong with you? And like, just like screaming at her. And it wasn't her fault. Like, literally, we watched it happen. This guy's like drunk and just bashes into her and drops the bussing tub. So it's obviously his fault.
Right.
And so it's 8 o'clock. It's go time. Like, they release us to go, or they pay us $300 an hour to stay. So we go out there. My wife's pissed at this point. She's livid mad just because like everybody's drunk. They're being rude. And so my wife goes to the wedding planner, which wasn't a wedding planner. It was a friend. She kept telling us she was a wedding planner. She was not. She was literally a friend, doesn't own a wedding planning business. And Amy goes to her and says, hey, since you guys ran long, you guys are out of time. Do you guys want us to stay at $300 an hour to keep cleaning up? Or do you want us to go? And she goes, ask the mom. And she's like, well, they're supposed to, we paid them this much to do it. And Amy's like, listen here, you were late. This is not our fault. This is your fault. We told you this is the agreement. Next time to this time, if you want us to stay, it's this much. And she's like, just clean up and leave. At this point, they still owed us. We call them the policy change wedding. At this point, they still owed us like $6,000. So we left. We get into a vehicle, and this guy is slobbering drunk. I mean, slobbering drunk. He goes up because they blocked us in with another trailer. He's like, I'll just move the trailer. And he's like trying to get his keys out. And we've got kids from like 16 to like 18 there. And I'm like, babe, we need to get out of here. Like, this guy's going to kill someone. And so we leave, and I'm glad we left, because they ended up shooting fireworks over the wildlife refuge, which is illegal to do.
Yeah.
They were spinning donuts and Brodies on the venue's guy's grass and tearing it up. They accused my staff of drinking alcohol off the table. They refused to pay me the $6,000 that they owed me because we broke one dish. So the venue owner sided with us and said, no, 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 no. You will not get your deposit back. And my girlfriend's an attorney. We were going to represent Broken Bowl. If you don't pay them, you have 24 hours to pay them. And so they come out to the house with a check, because he said you had 24 hours to pay them, or my girlfriend will represent them for free. And so he calls me and says what he's doing. He says, I have the videotape. None of your staff were drinking stuff off the table. And so I already had like a pre-meeting with the guy. And so the bride comes out to our house with the check and was saying all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, don't worry. I've been in contact with the venue owner. He's got videotape. She's like, we were just looking out for you. We just wanted to let you know that your staff were drinking alcohol off the table. I'm like, I hired every single one of those kids were Mormons.
Yeah.
Every single one of them were like very Mormon, very good kids.
Yeah.
Like, not a one of them, like, you get kids, not a one of them, I would be shocked. Like, if any of them even sniffed it.
Yeah.
They were just great kids. And I'm like, oh no, the venue guy said he'll give me the video footage. He said he went over it and he said that wasn't true. Oh, we're just trying to look out for your company. We're just trying to help you out. Like, we just want to know that you have bad employees. And then she's like, well, you guys broke a bunch of dishes on the porch. And I said, weird. The venue owner said he looked at the camera. it was your family breaking the dishes, and he has videotape of that. Oh, they're just totally lying the whole time.
Yeah.
They lied to the venue the whole time. They told them it was like 150 people, and they booked us for 250 people. Like, this family just lied about everything.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. And at the time I was stressed out. Like, like, am I going to get a bad Google review? Like, what's going to happen? And they didn't, and
because they knew they were wrong.
Yeah, they knew they were, and there's footage. And so, yeah, like, looking back at it now, my wife's pride and joy, she always says, well, I've only ever yelled at the mother of a bride once. That's kind of her claim to fame.
Yeah.
So, like, looking back on it, it's funny, but like, drama can happen. It can happen. And people, I hate to say it, like, people lie.
Yeah.
They lie to get what they want, or they're afraid you'll tell them no. And so they just hide what they do. And so, looking back at it, it's funny now, but at the time it was not funny.
No.
A lot of funny things happen is like with the food. Like, a lot of it is like we did an event and we served this thing called Dutch oven potatoes. And it's like a fried potato. And this lady's like this lady goes through the line and goes, oh my gosh, that's a really big French fry. Looks nothing like a French fry. It's just weird stuff. Like, people,
Yeah.
like,
Comment.
yeah, instead of just asking what it is, like, what is this? This looks good. Or what is this? Like, they just say dumb things. It's just like, no, yeah. Like, we do a white bean puree for our pinto beans. Pinto beans are actually really hard. Refried beans are really hard to cater. They naturally just turn really thick. So we use a white bean. The viscosity is different, so they don't get pasty. And everybody's like, is this queso? It looks nothing like queso. And it's like, is this queso? Yeah, we just have a big pan of queso for you just pour all over your tacos. Like, just call us Chipotle. Just like, good hell. But yeah.
What is one dish that you wish to never do again versus one dish that isn't made enough?
We just did this. They might listen to the podcast. We did a wedding. Sorry. I love doing your wedding. We did a wedding for this really awesome couple. Amy and her really meshed. We really meshed with the bride. She was really fun and great. The family was from another country, and they wanted to serve their country's appetizers. And it was like bread with mayonnaise on it, and like crackers and caviar and mayonnaise, and like everything had mayonnaise, and it was not yummy. And so I tried to make them yummy as much as I could. I hope to God I never have to do that again. It was not good. It was not good at all. The bride was being very kind and trying to accommodate that side of the family. And it's just a flavor preference. It wasn't like, my staff didn't like it. Like, my staff usually, like, they'll eat one, and as they go back out, and they're like, this is gross.
I'm not touching that.
Yeah, like, I was like trying to like, we went and got Kewpie mayo because it's like the best mayonnaise. Like, tried to like elevate it, and I was like, I hope to God we never do this again. Yeah, it was gross. It was not fun. But the family enjoyed it, which is a bonus.
That's good.
Because they're used to those flavors, and us Americans were not used to those flavors. And so, but yeah, I hope to God I never have to serve mayonnaise and caviar ever again. Yeah, it was gross.
What's one dish that you wish more people would order more of? Like an underrated.
I think, like, honestly, our pasta menu is phenomenal, and I wish people would order it more. To be honest with you, I'm told. And not to brag, I am told constantly it's the best pasta in the valley. The best marinara, the best Alfredo. We make it from scratch. Like, we slow roast the tomatoes. We actually buy big Parmesan wheels, and we grade the Parmesan off the wheels for the Alfredo. It's so underutilized that, people feel like pasta's got a bad rap because it makes you look cheap, which I get it. I get, like, but I wish we would do it more just because it's so good.
Well, and like, when I think of pasta, I think of like the cheap mac and cheese, like you just throw in the dish and everybody gets a scoop.
Yeah. It's really hard to make pasta look nice. It really is. And so with us, I wish it was ordered more, to be honest with you.
Do you ever do that on your? Oh.
Yeah. The Friday meals we do the best. We sell it every time is Asian food. Really? My gosh. Like, we sell out of drunken noodles, orange chicken. Anytime we did teriyaki bowls with fried rice.
A good teriyaki bowl.
So I try to do as authentic as I can. So when we do teriyaki chicken and fried rice, we actually use real like authentic ingredients from Japan.
Oh.
So we use the fish sauce that's from Japan, not the stuff made in America. Like we do like cute tips and tricks to elevate the meal a lot more. And so in New Plymouth and in that end of the valley, like no one's doing what I'm doing, so it does really well.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun for me. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I don't even think like just even in the extended valley, like there's no one doing that.
No.
Yeah.
No. And so I have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff. Just try to be like, we make our own umami powder. And so it's like a dust that you put on stuff to it just enhance. It has a little bit of MSG in it, a little bit of white pepper, has a little bit of natural yeast in it. And natural yeast has a really good flavor if you cut it with other things. If you don't, it's pretty strong. And just like, I just don't see people doing that.
Yeah.
You know, we sprinkle a little bit on the veggies, we sprinkle a little bit on the rice, and it just adds this like umami that you just like, what the hell is that? And it's really good. And I pride myself in kind of trying to do fun things that you just normally can't get.
What's your favorite like subtype of food, like Asian?
To cook or eat?
Both.
I'm a sushi freak, but I refuse to make it because if I end up making something, I end up hating it. And so sushi is my go-to thing, and peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I absolutely love them.
Like together?
No.
Okay.
They're, I can't have sushi every day, so I eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Okay.
I love them. I don't know. They're my jam. My favorite thing to cook, to be very honest, I love cooking. I cannot say there's one thing that I'm like, I love cooking this every day. I enjoy mastering the craft. And so I love taking something and trying to improve it. What can I do to make it better? Is there a technique that I'm missing? How can I be the best? I want to be the best, but without the bragging rights. Yeah. Like, I want you to tell me I'm the best. I don't want to have to tell people I'm the best. Yeah. You know, like, and I think that's like the greatest of all time, people like, like Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, like Michael Jordan never said he was the greatest. He just, people said it for him. That's what I want. I want people to be like, damn, he's like, this guy can cook anything. As a chef, you got to be super careful not to be pigeonholed into be like, well, he's really good at barbecue, but he probably should have stuck with barbecue. Like, I want to be good at everything. I want to be a master baker. I want to be a master pit boss. I want to be a master steak. I would like to be nominated for the James Baird Award. I just did an event where there's 2 chefs from James Baird Award winners there. And I was told my food was by far better.
Really? Yes. What is the James Baird?
It's like the Oscars of the culinary world. Okay. It is. It's only in America.
Like a Michelin type thing.
Michelin's more of like an establishment. Okay. Versus like a chef can get one Michelin star, and it's usually it's really like the restaurant. Not. Okay. It is the chef, but it's more about the experience. So like a 3 Michelin star restaurant, it's usually like a 15-course meal. But not always. Yeah, but like everything is like this. Oh, okay. Like everything, you're paying for an experience, it's like a concert. Would you go to a steakhouse and for 4 hours and spend $400 on a steak? No, but you might go to a concert to your favorite artist and spend $400 for that experience. Michelin restaurants are a lot like that. You're paying for an experience, not a meal. If makes sense. Yeah. So like the James Baird Award there's all sorts of categories in it. Just like anything else, like the Oscars, the best picture, the best actor, the best supporting act. It's the same concept. And I would love to get it for a chef. That is my goal, is to be able to get there. And this is just coming from people that are world travelers, people that are execs from New York that fly in and do stuff here, and I cook for them. And they tell me like, this is some of the best food I've ever had. My mouth is like water. So like that gives me drive. And they can't believe my pricing. Like, you are very affordable. And we've had brides tell me that like, I almost didn't book you because I felt like your pricing was too good to be true. Like, you're cheap. And, the difference between me and other companies, and again, this is just coming from them telling me, is that I absolutely love what I do. Like, as long as I can pay my bills, I'm happy, and so like, that's my goal. I don't want to put anybody out of business. I feel like the valley's big enough for all of us catering companies to make money, make profit. but some of them just feel super threatened, you know, and they're like, oh, you're stealing my business. I'm like, dude, there's 365 days in a year. I can't cater every single day.
Right.
You know,
and there's more than that, like more.
Yeah, there's enough for everybody to go around.
Especially with the continued influx of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Sure. You know, and so like, but there's people like, oh, you're still in our business, or like, there's no way you're doing it that cheap. How are you even operating? You know, and it's just like, I don't know, like I'm making money. Like, you know, like, I don't know, like I'm happy. I'm happy with the space I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy with my pricing. You know, we've expanded into now we do way more plated dinners than we have before, but we run it at an affordable rate. Like I looked at one of my competitors, a plated dinner was $75. Like, out of here. Like, who's paying that? Like, but there is people that.
For those who don't know, explain a plated dinner versus.
So a plated dinner is like chef plated, like your guests get it like they would get it at a restaurant. There's no buffet involved. You have a menu at the table. Your pre-menu is selected, and then we bring you what you want to your table on a glass plate with dishes and silverware, napkin, and so that's a plated dinner. You know, and my one competitor is $75 a plate. You know, and mine is I think my most expensive one, and it's like high end, I think is $75 a plate, but that's bison. Like that's
high quality.
High quality.
Yeah.
Versus it just being tri-tip or salmon, you know, which we do. I think ours is $34 a plate plated. You know?
Yeah, I can see why he's pissed.
Yeah, like, you know, and so like we have a plated dinner next on the 24th, you know, and so.
How does he, like, have you had his food?
Yes.
And not worth 75?
But again, he fits a niche that people like. Again, like.
You're talking about food or pricing?
Both. So we live in a world where people want to brag about how much they spent on stuff. And so there is those clientele that want to be like, yeah, our catering bill was $17,000, you know, like they want to brag.
Yeah.
Like that's their prerogative. If they want to spend
why don't you tip me the difference if that's
yeah.
you
Well,
want?
I've actually jokingly said that one time. I was like, well, you could pay me more. And they're like, oh, okay. Like,
and then they don't.
No, they did. They tipped me $2,000, you know, cause they're like this. He's like, you're way too cheap. Like this was phenomenal. And they tipped us $2,000 cash.
That's insane.
Yeah. So a lot of them, you know, it's for some reason we are programmed somehow that we look at this phone case for $1.99 and we look at this phone case for $200 and we're like, oh, that one has to be better because it's more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Which not necessarily true.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's not true at all.
Well, and there's, I don't know if you've seen it, but the trend on TikTok right now where all the Chinese manufacturers are everybody out.
Yeah, because of the
tariffs. Yeah.
We make your stuff.
It's the same
thing. But Chinese, they're shooting themselves in the foot, showing that, oh, we steal your intellectual property and we resell it. Like, it's just like, okay, this is probably why we should stop doing business with China. You know?
One creator that keeps popping up and they've got this like catchy little jingle that like gets stuck in my head. It's like, if you want to import from China, make sure you visit right places. I see it almost every day and it gets stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, you know, like I don't know.
But yeah, it like does beg the question, like, why are we programmed that way?
Oh no, for sure. Like I'm a firm believer, like we're brainwashed by society, meaning that we watch TV and the TV says the human nature, we act this way on sitcoms. So I have to act that way in real life. I might be crazy, but I do believe that we are brainwashed. I don't know what else, maybe programmed, not brainwashed, but we're programmed to think a certain way because of what we watch and we do in school. Like, again, like I'm not anti-school, but like when we hire these high school kids, they have to raise their hand to go potty. They have to raise their hand. So at work, when they come to work, they're so scared to just jump in and work because they have to ask permission to everything they do at school. Like they have to ask permission. Is this okay? I do this. Bro, just work. Yeah. Like there's stuff to do, but they're so programmed from kindergarten to senior year that they have to ask to do anything. They translate that into a job.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
Well, that's a really interesting point, because then the older generation is like, why don't they work? Why don't they do anything? Well, because of all the programming.
Yeah, it is. Look, we try to work with high school kids. Some are really good and some are not. And we try to work with them and explain stuff to them. But one girl, she's like, look, my teachers tell me everything to do. Pull out your textbook, pull out your tablet, turn in your assignment. Like, they spend their whole life being told what to do, and then they get a job. Is it really their fault?
No.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I try to be a realist. Is it their fault that they don't understand that at a job that no one's telling you what to do? Like, you kind of, if there's dishes on our dish rack, you should put them away, but like literally wait for you to tell them to do something. And it's so frustrating, but I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think anybody's, at least I've never looked at it in that perspective, though, because I mean, I don't work with young kids or like teenagers. So that perspective is very interesting and very eye-opening for sure.
Oh yeah. No one like, honestly, there's so many business owners. Like, I hate high school kids, and I sit down and I like, wait a minute, time out. Think about their day.
Yeah.
Think about their day, you know? And I come from a dad, I let my son drop out at 16. He could not take it anymore. My son, this is all fact. My son was severe depressed at the age of 8. A teacher saved him because his kindergarten teacher had him, and then she transferred to the 2nd grade. She had Dylan again in the 2nd grade, and she was my teacher twice. And so, because I, in the same small town, and Mrs. Lisney asked us to stay. It was in the spring. I remember it was the springtime. She quoting her, she goes, "What the fuck is wrong with your son? Like, what's wrong with Dylan?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she was like saying all this stuff. He's like, he is really recluse. He says he doesn't have friends. And like, but you bring him to like the local grocery store and everybody's like, "Hey Dylan, hey Dylan, hey Dylan." Dylan would come home, say he had no friends. He tried to do, at age 8, he tried to do self-harm because he was so depressed. And so as young parents, we didn't know what the hell to do. So at the time I worked at a hospital. And so we took him in and saw Dr. Clark, and Dr. Clark took him into another room. He's like, "Hey, do you mind if I just talk to your son?" And so we're like, yeah, he was a great family friend. I love Dr. Clark. And he took Dylan into another room, and they both come back crying. And he's like, "Your son has severe depression." And so he consulted a guy at OHSU. So anyways, going through life, Dylan was on antidepressant, on depression meds, anxiety meds, just had a hard time coping with life. COVID happened. It messed him up even more. And so...
Is this the one that wants to be a baker?
He owns his own business now.
Oh, okay.
And so he was a mess when he was 15, 16, just insanely depressed again, insanely anxious, really hated life. He's like, "I can't do school anymore. I'm not going back. I am not going back." And so I'm like, okay, fine. So he dropped out of school. He, like 3 weeks later, he was happy and like wanting to like do stuff. And I'm like, okay, it's, it's the new car smell. He's been like that ever since. School was so, for some reason, for him, and I'm not blaming teachers, I'm not blaming the public education system, but for my son, he could not handle it. So oh, he's a dropout. My son owns stock. My son owns his own business. My son has more money than most school teachers. Like, it was not for him. It was not for him. I'm not saying that's for everybody. So instead of chemically treating my son's depression, we pulled him out of school. He's worked for us. He's not lazy. Yeah, he video games, but like all adults video game. Yeah. Like, he games, but he owns his own business. He's applied for his first business loan at $80,000. He has working capital. Like, he's getting invited to, he owns a burger business selling smash burgers. He's invited to Party at the Pin. He did it last year. Invited to Apple Blossom and Payette. He's invited to block parties. Like, he's invited, like, other businesses have reached out, like, "Hey, once you get your food truck, we want you to park at our business," because he has a good product and he has great customer service. Like, so again, school's not for everybody. And I'm glad that he's on 0 medication right now.
It's amazing.
It's been like that for 2.5 years. So, little side tangent, sorry.
Yeah. No.
I think sometimes society tells you, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you have to do. And they don't sit down and stop and be like, maybe this isn't meant for my kid. Maybe it's okay that he is a grocery bagger at Walmart. Is he happy?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and something in having a kid myself, like I've heavily considered homeschooling when he gets to the age. Obviously, we've got a few years, but yeah, and I've heavily considered it. But then the backlash that I get is like, well, he's gonna be socially awkward. No, like I know so many homeschooled kids that are like the friendliest kids and more outgoing than actual like school kids.
Yeah.
So,
dude, a lot of the kids that we talk to and hang out, they have such bad anxiety, and I'm like, from public school.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I just don't feel like there's a good argument. I feel like the argument is you do what's best for your kid and what you think is best for your kid.
Yeah.
And in our case, it panned out. It could have went horribly wrong. Like I thank God that he had to drive to work and drive to make money, and he fell in love with cooking, and so it panned out for us. And so, I would count ourselves lucky.
Yeah.
That it worked for him.
There's something to be said as well. Like we shouldn't try to pigeonhole everybody.
For sure. Because not everybody's the same.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be an editor of a magazine. It would be horrible. It's not my thing.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately because, like you grow up, everybody's always like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I never, ever would have considered, one, that I would have been a photographer that led to this.
Yeah.
But two, I never in a million years would have told you that I would have been an editor.
But are you happy?
I am.
And do you love it?
Yes.
So like this, you landed the American dream.
Yeah, for sure. Not getting paid for it, but hopefully one day.
But again, to give you credit, I catered probably 70, 80 events for free before I started making money. And so you have to put yourself out there. You have to spend money to make money. And sometimes you're losing money for the first 5 years, but that one thing will catch. You'll talk to the right person. You'll network with the right person that will put you on that path to success.
Yeah.
And that was like why I reached out and bought 20 magazines from you. It was because like, I kind of felt inspired to do it. I saw your email. I was like, you know what? I wish more people helped me out when I first started.
Thanks.
And so, I knew you were just getting going, and I was like, you know what? I meet a lot of brides. And I love your magazine's very beautiful. I love the fact it's not this thick. It's not like a JC Penney magazine from the 90s or a phone book that could kill people. It's simple. It's great. All the articles are beautifully written. And all the pictures are super beautiful. And it's strictly promoting Idaho. And this state is a weird state. And I mean that in a good way. We have more. I've never lived somewhere where clients ask you, do you support local Idaho business? Where do you get your produce? Where do you get your meat? When I lived in Oregon, no one cared. Like, oh, how cheap can I get this?
Yeah.
We're there's clients in the state that want you to support Idaho business. And that's what the Idaho Bride magazine is supporting me. I have an ad or article in the summer one because it promotes me. It promotes my business, and I would love to see you successful. You're an Idaho company. If you're successful, I'm successful. I hope you get 8 more caterers on your podcast to kind of talk about their life in the industry, and promote them. There's enough to go around for everybody.
Yeah.
And you're really the only person that I see that's actually doing a magazine. I feel like people felt like magazines have gone away, but I think they're trending back. I really do. I think you're on the forefront of something that's going to trend back around. And I think in a couple years, you're going to be doing very, very well at it.
Thank you.
Stick with it for sure.
Thanks. I've talked about this before, but I definitely felt like there wasn't that space that you're talking about for, to recognize Idaho vendors and feel like it's truly understanding of Idaho vendors. Being a photographer, there's a dime a dozen. And so and even planning my own wedding, I didn't feel like there was a resource to be like, well, I can read the reviews, but reviews can be faked. Or you could Google and 15 different ones come up. So it's how do I pick the right one for me?
Yep.
So
for sure.
I felt like it was.
I think some of it too is I caution anybody going too corporate. I think at some point people price themselves out. The knot. I signed up once. One person, I don't remember who it was, a couple years ago. They told me oh, you want more business, sign up with the knot, blah, blah, blah. So I did. Dude, they will not stop calling. And they're unaffordable. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we like, there's no proof to their pudding. They claim, oh, we'll increase your revenue. Like, you can't promise that. You can't force people to buy.
Yeah.
So you want me to pay you thousands of dollars to be on your website or to be in your magazine to not maybe get, like, to not get revenue? Like,
Yeah.
I don't see any return on investment with this.
I inquired once, and like you said, like they call constantly, and I was like, hey, look, like I think I'm kind of phasing out of photography. I'm not interested.
Yeah, yep.
And then they like didn't get the hint there, kept calling. I was like, hey, I had a baby. I'm not doing this anymore. And then they like again called again.
Yep.
I got a call like a couple months ago, and I'm just like, how do I get off of this?
Yeah. Please stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they still call us, like, maybe once or twice a year.
Next time they call me and be like, do you want to be in my magazine?
Yeah, you should,
Upsell them.
But there's so many people so desperate to make it that they'll spend the money because they think it's a catch-all, beat-all. I tell everybody in the industry, good customer service, answer your frickin' phone, and message people back and answer email appropriately.
Yeah.
And you will do fine.
Yeah.
If you don't do those, you should probably go back to Home Depot.
Yeah, because even like me trying to communicate with vendors, like in regards to the winning or just in general, like they probably, like, I still need to build trust in the community and like establish who I am, but like they'll either leave me on red or they won't open the thing for like weeks at a time. I'm like, what if I was a bride? Like,
they don't see the value in it. Like, yeah. I'm a foreseer. I truly see the value in your business 100%. Like 100%.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing is trending back around. And I think people that are not jumping on the bandwagon are dumb. Well, I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I don't think I am.
I think a lot of it is I'm new, and so like they don't trust me yet, but I've seen 2 instances now where I had reached out, like letting them know, hey, I'm new, this is what I do, just so I'm on your radar kind of thing. And both times, both businesses were like, yeah, we're not interested. I'm like, I get it. And both of them, I swear, the same week messaged me. They're like, hey, we fired our last person. We actually really want to work with you. And I'm like, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And like, I'll take it. I understand. And there's no hard feelings because I understand that I'm new and it's different and it's like, I understand.
But I think, honestly, and I think you'd be crazy not to do a second magazine and do stuff towards corporate events, because like there's no space for like Bish RV to get a magazine and be like, oh shoot, this, like, we did an event for CBH Homes last week. And there's a gal in there that rents out massive freaking glowing letters. And so they rented these big CBH block things that have lights in it. Like, maybe Bish RV would be interested in something like that.
Yeah.
Without Googling it, there's no magazine space to be able to, and literally you could spend, let's just say you eat $5,000 and you hand Bish RV a magazine and you hand, CBH Homes a magazine and you hand all these people a magazine, and they realize like, wow, like, I didn't know this was an option in the Valley. Like, I don't have to Google this. Like, it's right here in front of me.
Yeah.
Because Google is so misleading. It's so skewed. But like a magazine, like, I actually had to pay money to get in your magazine. Like, I can ask you for, hey, Ivy, give me a good Google review. Like, give me a 5-star and I'll give you one, which happens a lot. But I feel like if someone's willing to spend money to be in a magazine, to take the time to write an article and do the stuff, probably pretty legit company. No, like everything's skewed. I honestly think there's an event space for events and brides. And I think someone needs to fill the event one, because they literally give this information to Jessica, hire a caterer, hire a photographer. Like, you, especially with you, like, if you did an event one, you could be like, look, Ivy's photography, we do headshots for businesses. So now businesses see that, like, shoot, we can hire Ivy. She can do all our headshots for our, our business cards or our St. Luke's cards or whatever. And that gives you access right there. I don't think there is a magazine in this Valley that promotes local vendors for corporate events.
Well, in a lot of times, like, yes, you can find a photographer, but they might not be a headshot photographer.
Yeah,
They might
correct.
just be a portrait photographer or like a wedding
Yeah.
photographer. But something else I thought of, a lot of times I see like in Facebook groups, like, oh, who do you go for this?
Yeah.
And then you get a million responses. And then you're so overwhelmed, you don't want to go through every single one. I mean, you might, but like you don't really want to. So I think that is a good idea. My mom has also said like you need to do a prom one, and I'm like, I am one person. But I do it. I see the vision. I have like so many. Okay, just a minute. Okay. I have
But even your prom one could be just in the back half of the bridal one, could be a small section for prom
yeah.
to start off with.
Yeah.
So your spring one, knowing prom's coming up, and the same with the summer one and home coming up. Maybe the last 4 pages, it's almost a new magazine cover in there, and it says prom 2025, and it's just bridal shops.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Because a lot of the vendors will cross over.
yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. Like you can hook up with tuxedo shops. You can hook up with dress shops.
Yeah.
You can hook up with bakeries. You can hook up with local restaurants that are maybe wanting to offer a prom special to drive those kids into their establishment, which I feel like you wouldn't have to do a whole new magazine, but just your spring issue would cover
Yeah.
that. You know, the last 4 pages would cover the prom girls. Like, oh, I got a lot of good information. I had a good experience.
And hopefully I do provide that quality of a service that you do want to have.
Well, and I think in general, like, I think the one thing I worry about your side of the business is, and I don't mean this as a disrespect, so bear with me, is you being new, you needing that money, having that company pay you the $2,000 cover,
Yeah.
and you're like, sweet, awesome, I'm making money, and they're a shit company. So why is Ivy promoting this shit company that has bad customer service, that doesn't email people back? So that's like the backlash. So like we always say, if it's too good to be true, it's probably true, you know? And so like, that would be my worry for your business is and I did it, dude. I thought people were in my corner. I thought people had my back, and they stabbed me in the back. They just used me, and they still do. Like, people still use me. Like, for example, and go viral because I'm calling you guys out. No, you can ask my wife. Hey, babies, you guys want to come over to our family barbecue? Oh, sure. And then the next day, like, hey, how about you guys bring do you guys want to bring a brisket? Nope, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Because you just want me to bring food.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't want my presence there. We have one great family that invites us over, the Campbells and the Bake family. And they never ask us to bring anything. They just like, no, we want to hang out with your family. Those are real friends. But it's usually the people that could afford buying my brisket. They use you. They're like, what can we do? Oh, let's invite the babies and we can get a brisket or 2 briskets. You know, no, I'm not doing it.
Like, hey, you want to come over? Oh, do you want to bring your camera too?
Yeah. And event industry people get used all the time. We have a friend that's a DJ, and people ask him to do free stuff all the time. He's like, it's my side business. Like, why? Like, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I shook your hand once at church. Like, I don't like, why would I give you, like it costs me gas to travel to your site. It takes me time to set this up. Like, why would I give you this for free?
Right. Like, I do this almost for a living.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like,
so it amazes me what people have the audacity to ask you for, you know? And so like when we have an event, like we have a usually a Christmas party or a summer get together every year, and we tell people, bring what you want, bring nothing at all. I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, they're going to bring all the beer, you know, like, you know, like I just feel like it's super inappropriate, you know? And so, but I think you've seen it. Us vendors in the industry get hit up all the time. Like, oh, I wonder if the schools are the worst. They're predators, man. And they like to throw that around. We're a school. I'm a business and I have family.
Yeah.
Kids. And they always prey upon you to get free stuff, free handouts. Like we had a kid, this hurt me a couple of years ago. So my restaurant wasn't doing very well. I'm on the backside. Well, you've seen it. I'm on the backside of an office building in a town of 1,500 people. Like I have no signage. It's like a secret to even know where I'm at. So this kid comes in and says, hey, my coach and mom and dad said you donate to the community. Can I get $100 for our baseball team? I'm like, yeah. Have your parents eaten here at the restaurant? He's like, well, no, but we've been planning on it. At this point, I've been almost open a year. So then I'm like, well, has your baseball coach eaten here? He's like, he messages his coach and he's like, no, actually he hasn't. I'm like, I'm not donating to you. Why am I like, you're literally just looking for a handout.
Right.
Like, you're not supporting me, so why should I support you? But this other family, she came in with her son. Her son was a young guy. He came in, she made him ask for money and they were talking to my wife, and they spend money with us every week buying meal pickups. We gave him the money to sponsor his wrestling thing. That's how the world works.
Yeah.
Like, that's how the world works. But like these people, they're just so like predatory, man. Like they're a business, like they're a small business. Small businesses aren't rich as what people think we are, you know? And especially if it's a restaurant, we have huge overheads. I have to buy a product and resell it and hope to God it resells.
Yeah.
Before I even make money.
Yeah. Well, and then there's expiration.
And so power bill and employee bill. And so, yeah. It's fascinating what people think they know and they actually don't know.
I hope that I'm kind of seeing, like it's obviously, I don't know if it's a trend per se, but it's influencers will like ask like, oh, like I want this for free, like in like promotion. It's like, no, I would lose money on that. I don't make a lot of money. This is either my side thing or it's just starting out. Like I'm not making money like these corporations that can do that.
There's no guarantee.
Right.
That's my problem with the knot. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, will my ad in the Idaho Bride bring me brides? I hope so, but there's no guarantee. But I rather support you in a small business that I feel like at least is an Idaho company. And I feel like you and I have networked just maybe in the first time. I felt like, no, Ivy's going to tell people about Broken Bowl Catering. Like, hey, I know this guy. Like,
I actually have.
You know, again, I'm going to network with you. You know, it's one of those things that, and you have to have the passion and the will and the drive. Are you willing to be up 24 hours? Are you willing up to be 40 hours? Are you willing up to, I think the most I did was 72 hours straight without sleep.
It's insane.
And so, but I thrive on it. I want that challenge. I want to push myself to see how far I can go. And so that's me. And you can't, like, I can't sell me. Like, honestly, Broken Bowl Catering, my fear is I won't be able to sell it if my kids don't want it. Because I am Broken Bowl Catering. Does that make sense? Like,
Oh, it absolutely makes sense.
I am Broken Bowl Catering.
Yeah.
People don't really hire Broken Bowl Catering. They hire Chef Jacob R. They like my social media presence. They like what I do. They like my customer service. You can't sell that. You can sell a name, you can sell a facility, but you can't sell me. And so that is my fear, is they'll be buying Blue Sky, you know, and so you can't have the passion. We throw stuff away that is not up to par to my standards. I can't guarantee if I sold it, the next person would do that, you know.
I have that same exact feeling about the magazine. Like I'm trying to be so careful of like being personable enough, but also like not that I want to sell, but I'm not going to be around forever.
Oh, and what happens if your kids don't want it?
Yeah, I mean, little boy wants a bridal magazine. I mean, I'm Tanner. What's a common misconception that couples have about catering?
Honestly, I feel like catering is so new to the state because we hire a lot of people that have never hired catering before. They don't know what's going on. So in the catering world, what I was trained, you know, other people would argue, but this is what I was trained. There's 3 types of caterers out there. There's dinner service catering companies. That's what I am. That means I provide the whole dinner. And then you could branch from there into plated dinners. You could do, we call it, what's it called, Ames, where we go through the buffet line and they plate it? Attended buffet, meaning the guests still go through the line, but my staff plates it to reduce bacteria and germs. There's some people that don't like the fact that 400 people are going to touch the same spoon.
Yes.
And so we call that an attended buffet. And then the other type of catering company out there is where you call them and say, hey, I want 30 pounds of pulled pork. I want 10 pounds of potato salad. I want 40 servings of lettuce and a vegetable platter. I don't do that.
And that's what, like, I mean, just growing up in Idaho, that's what I would think is like catering.
So that is a branch of catering.
Yeah.
Is you order a X amount of food and you pick it up and you take it wherever and serve it and do that. That's not me. And then the other one is a mixture of what I do and that. And so a company, you know, they're willing to sell, but they also want to do a dinner service. So there's a mixture of those companies. I prefer the dinner service catering company. I want to control every aspect of what is there and what is put out. I want to be able to be proud of what I'm putting out. And so that's a huge common misconception on, like, you know, hey, I want 30 pounds of brisket and I want the 4 meat option package. Like, I don't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not a barbecue restaurant catering. I offer barbecue, but I'm not a barbecue restaurant caterer. I have a little bit of everything. I have a small Aztec menu, which is our form of Mexican food. We have a small barbecue menu. We have a small steak menu. We have a small Italian menu. And we have 2 custom menus that are set. We have a Hawaiian menu. It's a set menu. So you can't, meaning it's set. You can't take away and add. It's set. This is what we provide. And we have a pulled pork sandwich menu that is set. You can choose 2 different sides, but it's a set. It comes with coleslaw, pulled pork, barbecue sauce, a sandwich bun, and 2 hot sides. You know, it's a set menu. And so, and it's really worked for us, but it is this common misconception on that people don't understand there's different types of caterers out there. Like, just like DJs, there's different DJs out there. There's some that will not MC. They just will play the music. There's DJs that will MC and play music.
DJ Jesse D would say that they're not a real DJ if they don't live mix.
Yeah. And so, which is true. I agree with him. Like almost like, I don't know what it's called, almost just like playlist and go, you know, which there's quite a few of them that do that.
Yeah.
Which again, if that's what people want at their wedding, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so I would say that would be the common misconception is that, you know, not knowing what catering offers and what it entails. And some people think my pricing is they have to come and pick it up. I'm like, no, that first price is me on-site catering. Like, really? Yes, actually the drop and go service is actually more expensive because we have to buy disposable chafers at $35 a pop, you know, and I'm not eating the cost of that. Sorry, you're going to eat the cost of it. And so most of the time people are like, no, if you're going to come and serve it, we'll definitely deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, and one big thing in just catering in general, they feel this one's weird. But so, for example, let's just say you hire me for catering and you pay for 100 servings and 105 go through the line and then you think there's leftovers. Like, no, we fed 105. Whatever's left in the chafers is mine. Like, that's just not food that's yours. Like, I cook for 20% extra just in case there's an emergency. You know, if one guy goes to the line and takes 3 pulled pork sandwiches, he just took 2 other people's sandwiches. I have to account for that guy being an idiot. And so the common misconception is, huge misconception is like, oh, well, I paid for that. That's mine. No. Well, we just had an event this recently. They ordered marsala chicken. We brought 50 servings, but the pack of chicken I buy, and I don't like storing stuff. So I think I brought 65 servings. They paid for 50 servings. That's it. I brought 65 just in case something happened. And then I feed my staff. So in case my staff member wanted some chicken, they get it. They came into the kitchen, opened my combo box, and took the other 16 servings or the other 15 servings of chicken because it was theirs. Even though they hit their numbers, we ran out. They hit their numbers at 50, but since it's in the camber box, it's theirs.
Oh, geez.
And you can ask it happens all the time. They have this belief that I paid for that. That's mine. No, I have, oh shit, 20%. That is mine that I paid for, that you did not pay for my staff to eat. And just in case that you have a rude guest that takes more than they should. Like dinner rolls. It's a huge common misconception. We have dinner rolls that we provide. Some people take 2. That means they just took 2 per another person's dinner roll. Like, what happens if we run out? We look bad, so we provide 20% extra. It's crazy what they think is theirs. It's like if they built a house, had a contractor build a house, and they go on site, those are my leftovers. Those are my 2x4s. No, the contractor bought a whole unit, and then he takes whatever back because he doesn't want to run back to the store and buy more.
Yeah.
But people think like they paid for that. No. And now, if you don't hit your numbers, we leave you leftovers, you know, because you did pay for it. But if you're over your numbers and people came back for seconds, they're still convinced it's theirs. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
That is, I feel like though that there's not like an education side of that would.
There isn't. We definitely go over it at our tastings and we tell people you don't have leftovers. Like, we leave the stuff in the chafers. Like, I'm not an asshole. Like, we do leave it, but knowing that it is not theirs, we're leaving it out of the goodness of our hearts. Because you didn't just hit your numbers, you hit your numbers and you went over by 5, you know, And so,
but I think even like you can communicate that to the brides and stuff, but even guests need that like a little bit of education. And hopefully some guest is listening to this.
well, and another huge one is, for example, you pay for 100 servings and 115 people show up and they're like, well, we only paid for 100 servings, so we're not going to pay the other 15 guests. I'm like, yeah, you are. It's in our catering agreement. Anything over allotted than what you paid for, you will accommodate for the other guests that show up and
Right.
pay for.
Well, because it's the same with the venue. Like,
Yeah.
they're going to make you pay for it.
Yeah, yeah. You can't just have it the next day.
Yeah.
Like, and so like, but that's a common misconception is like, well, we only paid for 100 serving. It's your fault that you brought extra. Yeah. So you're just going to let 15 people go hungry?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to, and it happened at Christmas. This one company, they knew 85 people were coming and they only ordered food for 50 and they did it on purpose.
So what did they expect?
Amy was coming back from a job with the same menu. So she stopped and dropped off mashed potatoes, pork loin, and rolls because we were almost out. Thank God that she was coming back from the job and coming through the area we were at. And so she dropped off enough so we could finish the job. At the wedding, the event planner flat out told us that they did this on purpose. She's like, I feel dirty about it. She's like, they told me to order 50, but they knew 85 were coming. So we were catering for them back to back. So the next day I told her, I'm not showing up unless you cover this other bill too. And so they paid both bills at the same time. And then they rehired me. So I don't know if they like
trying to see what they could get away with.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if there was a huge miscommunication. I like to look at the good in people and not think everybody's out there to screw me. So my hope was there was just some miscommunication.
Yeah. Like that they figured out after the fact.
But who wants to go through life thinking everybody's there to screw them? That's a very toxic hole you can get in and it's hard to get out of. Yeah. And so I choose to be like, it was a misunderstanding.
Well, and I think like on the woo-woo side of things, like that attracts more negativity in your life. Like, because that's not only what you're looking for, but like, I think that there is some sort of like gravitational pull that will like bring those forces to you.
Well, this is very known now. We actually have a list we do not cater for.
Oh, really?
We have 3 venues on the list that we will not cater at their facility. The owners are absolute jerks. I don't tolerate being disrespected. And there's about 15 companies on the list that we will not cater for. I do not tolerate, will not, and do not tolerate people disrespecting me or my staff. I am not your hired man. I am there to provide a great customer service, and I'm not there for your employees or you to talk down to me or treat me like crap because you hired my company.
Yeah. I also have a list of do not recommends, and I will not have in my magazine. It's short, thank goodness, but I do have that list.
Off camera, I'm going to tell you one that you should add to that list. He made a bride cry.
Really?
Right as she was about to walk down. And she follows me. She'll hear this. And she'll probably, I don't know if she'll comment, literally made her cry right before. And I told him to go the hell away.
Was it the venue you said?
No, it's a little mixture.
Okay.
I'll tell you off.
Okay.
So.
Well then.
And I follow her. She's great. Absolutely love the bride, love the groom, love the mom. Great people, great to work with. Had a beautiful wedding. And so,
but also like I've noticed, because I was having a conversation with another vendor about one of the I do not recommends, and I didn't hardly give any information besides I think their specialty and like context of the conversation that I had with them. That was it. Like that could be anybody, truly. And they were like, it's this person. I was like, how the heck do you know that? That's
toxic.
Yeah.
That's toxic. If you can give crumbs and they know who you are, you probably should get out of the industry.
Right.
You shouldn't be in it.
Right. Yeah. No, it was like
I don't know how this guy stays in business because we've caught him multiple times being disrespectful to guests, and he's creeped on my wife many a times. And she flat out has told them that Jake owns the company. Go talk to him. Like I literally make the salad. Like and every event they're at, he is talking to my wife. Like she's not Broken Bowl Catering. Yeah. Like if she was Broken Bowl Catering, I get it. Like I call all the shots. I call where the table goes. I call how the buffet line goes. Like I call all the shots when I get on site. Like she calls no, because she doesn't want to. It's not like I'm a jerk. She wants nothing to do with it. She's like, this is your baby. Like you tell me where to do and I'll do it. And every event, dude, every single event, he's creeping on her. Yeah. and rude to guests, and like he's rude as an MC, and I'm just like, how do you stay in business? Like, how do you stay in business? I don't get it.
Neither, but hopefully this is also creating a platform to hold people accountable, because I not only want to create great resources, but like I said, I truly only want to recommend the best. And I hope that, like I said, this is some way to hold people accountable.
I'd love to build a team. That's my dream, to have a team of, 10 photographers, 10 DJs, 10 caterers, 10 venues, that we all work great together. We all recommend each other. We all help each other be successful. Like, I'm not threatened by any other caterer. Like, I'm not, and I don't mean that as a disrespect. They just provide a different service than I provide. There's enough money to go around. But I would love to build a huge network of, like, we all like, hey, hey, good to see you. I would like to team up with a good bar service. We found one that's phenomenal to work with. Absolutely love her to death. And so any chance we get, we throw bar service her way. It's Bobby with Homegrown Tavern.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bobby.
Freaking amazing.
I'm so glad she went and did her own thing.
Yeah. And, and so anybody that promotes me, I promote them. Like Lisa Ball, the wedding planner, love her to death. She's great to work with. Super great to work with. And then Amanda, I'm going to butcher her last name, Pipkin.
Oh, Five Ever.
Yeah. She's great to work with. She takes care of the bride. She's helped pin up brides' whatever brides need pinned up.
The corset.
Yeah, the corset. She's great. She helps. She's very honest with the photography sessions after the wedding. She says, hey, it'll be about 30 to 45 minutes. We've ran into photographers that tell people 35 to 45 minutes, and it's a 2-hour photo shoot after the wedding. And so that puts catering behind. And I've been with her multiple events, and that's never happened with her. She's great to work with. And so I would just love to build a team of people that we have our own network. We recommend each other. And if we're having a bad day, you can call them to maybe come and rescue you, or a photographer doesn't show up, and I have 10 photographers and that maybe don't have an event, that we can save the day with the wedding. And so that's kind of what we want to build at Broken Bowl Catering, is a great team of resources to be able to be the best vendors in the Valley. Like, we're the go-to people.
That's another thing that I want with this, is I want Idaho weddings elevated, because I'm noticing that there's a lot of posts on Facebook about photographers not delivering in their allotted time frame, which is their contract. It's a big pet peeve of mine, but I won't get too far into it because I've gone into it before. And just like I said, that accountability, because there is so much that goes just.
I feel for photographers. I jokingly say, if you want to see how many photographers are in the Valley, just post on a wedding page looking for a photographer. You'll have 90 comments in the first.
Not even on a wedding page. I live in Cuna, so there's Cuna Must Know. You posting Cuna Must Know, 200 comments in 5 minutes.
It's one of the easiest businesses to start up financially. Like, look, I'm not trying to disrespect the industry, but like DJs, they have to buy a pretty expensive equipment. And now cameras are expensive. But like me, I have to build a kitchen at $500,000. Like, that's pretty expensive. Where I feel like any person can, grab a Nikon or whatever camera.
It is very low barrier to it.
It is, and it's easy to build a portfolio if you have time. It's all about editing. And I mean, you literally can have a portfolio in a week if you're dedicated to it.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I think photography is one of the industries that brides need to be very careful on who they hire.
Absolutely.
Very careful. Only go through recommendations. Make sure you meet them.
There's so many photographer horror stories, not even in Idaho.
Like photographers stealing your portfolio and advertising it in Wyoming as their work. Yeah, dude, I wasn't that a big scandal like last year or something like that on one of the wedding pages? This gal was literally stealing other people's work and advertising it in like Montana.
I think so.
Or Wyoming, something like that, as her work. Yeah, and I was just like, dude.
Yeah. Dude. I'll wrap up with, if you could give brides or couples one piece of advice about either wedding planning or just married life in general, what would it be?
2, if you can pay for it on your wedding day, pay for it. There's been so many instances that we'll bring the water, we want to save money, and no one brought the water. Oh, we'll provide the dessert, no one brought the dessert. One of the big things that's forgotten is if we don't provide the dessert, bakeries don't provide dessert plates or dessert forks.
Really?
Do not. Most people want, even if it's a cupcake, they want a napkin or a fork or a plate to put that cookie or napkin on. Bakeries do not provide that stuff. It is the number one forgotten thing. And so we tell, my wife's a huge advocate of this. If you have the budget for it, pay someone to do it. That's the best advice we could give, because ultimately the week of your wedding, do you want to remember that your great uncle Milton needs to bring the water and the ice? Someone's going to forget.
Yeah.
One big thing is like when they want to provide their own plates. We did a wedding last year. They wanted to provide their own plastic plates. They wanted something a little bit more elegant. Fine. Okay. They didn't. We get there. There's no plates.
No.
We have an emergency kit. So we broke into the emergency plate.
Oh, good.
But again, if you can pay someone to do it, do it. I promise you, go through a wedding budget, get engaged, set a wedding budget, start looking at vendors, and know what stuff costs. And then you won't have a stressful wedding. And so I get the quick engagement. I get some of it. But if you have the money, pay someone to do it. Married advice, talk everything out. Most fights is misunderstanding. A huge chunk of fights are misunderstanding. And don't be selfish.
And check your tone.
Don't be selfish. And so I think a lot of selfishness ruins relationships on both sides, men and women. And only caring about yourself, and then only caring about what you're interested in. And as your partner suffers because they never get to do what they're interested in. Other than that, you can live a happy marriage.
Even that, it could be like just a miscommunication, because I've had with my husband, like he thinks that like I'm ordering all these Amazon packages, which sometimes I do, but a lot of times it's through the business, or it's like things I don't end up keeping. And then he's just like, well, I don't get any Amazon packages. And it's just like, but you're not seeing me return them, or you're not seeing that it's strictly for the business, or just stuff like that. So,
and we go through that too. Like, she's learned now that like if I'm ordering something from Amazon, it's for the business. So that was kind of our joke too. Like, dang, you order a lot on Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, spices are the cheapest spices on the planet are on Amazon.
Yeah.
They're half the price than the big box stores. So I get a lot of our spices, salt, pepper, all of it comes from Amazon. They crush everybody's pricing, and that helps me drive the price down. People are like, oh, you're buying it from big box stores. Well, that makes me affordable. Would you rather me affordable, or would you have me $35 a plate? They're going to say affordable. So yeah, I'm going to buy my pepper on Amazon. That's where we get our pepper. It's cheap.
Yeah.
At the US Chef store, it's $65 to $75. On Amazon, we get the same amount, the same mesh for $30.
That's crazy.
Half.
Yeah.
Less than half.
Maybe your competition's not buying on Amazon.
Well, and that's one thing so I put hands on all my groceries. I personally shop all the groceries every week. I go to the stores, I go to the meat supplier. We have a great meat supplier, and I hand pick everything we sell.
That's
you can't sell me. Like I am Broken Bowl Catering.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why if you don't have my passion, you'll never cook like.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem.
I enjoyed chatting with you.
Yep, that was fun.